Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AfricaNEV podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Garashiago. That is Senior Job Ashiago. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Tsitsi Makonyere, and a former model and National League basketball player, retired, I believe, and currently.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Tsitsi, welcome to the AfricaNEV podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm actually excited to be on the broadcast.
I know,
Thanks.
I know. So can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who is Tsitsi?
All right. I born in Zimbabwe. I've tried life in Kenya, came back to Zimbabwe. Pretty much been here most of my life. So I think I know the hardships of living in Africa. And as all Zimbabweans like to do, we like to make a plan to make it work. And I think as an entrepreneur and just as a Zimbabwean, I'm one of those who makes a plan to make anything work.
Can you break that down?
Tone it down. You know how they say in Zimbabwe, like in Africa, we have power shortages. So we went out and got solar panels to make it work.
Okay.
And then in Zimbabwe, even our currency is a bit of an issue. So,
but it's a big issue.
Again, yes, it is. So we barter trade where we need to, and we just make it work. And even sometimes our groceries are hard to find. Again, you find somebody who's going across the border, and we make it work. So that's what I mean. We make a plan and just make sure that life goes on. I think even now in the time of COVID, people here have adjusted quite a lot. We wear the masks because we need to, and you just get about your business, taking precautions, but continuing with life, making it work.
But how has COVID been for you down there in Zimbabwe?
I think there's been a lot of scare in terms of how lethal it is as a virus, and a lot of people have been living in a position of fear and also not having enough information about this virus and about exactly how to take care of oneself. But thanks to social media, I think we've caught on to a lot of ways to take precautions and just to take care of ourselves. And but I can still feel in the atmosphere there is still a lot of fear, because as you know, also our health department is not at its best. In fact, I think it's one of the worst times that it's been in. And to face COVID with that background for our health, it's the scare is real, and the fear is warrant, because you know why people are afraid, and they have a right to be afraid.
Wow.
But we're taking precautions and making the most of it. Just trying to make it work.
I think that with Africa, we have to thank God that we are young. So it has been a huge plus for us in escaping COVID. The large effect of it.
That's true.
Anyway, so the reason why we are here today is because you are a recent Nissan Leaf owner.
Yes.
Or probably excited and excitable Nissan Leaf owner in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
That is a remarkable story. And we will very much like to know your journey. How did you, Zimbabwe, you have one of the worst power problems on the continent. I think Nigeria is leading you in that regard, but you are still up there. Nigerians, you know, they are the seniors.
Oh, they are seniors in this province.
Oh, in a lot of things, they are seniors. Both good and bad, a lot of things, they are seniors on the continent.
I think for me, the biggest challenge I've actually had, because when we had the electricity challenge, solar panels came up. In fact, first of all, we did generators. For a long time, we ran generators. I personally ran a generator until it packed. And the guy who came to service said, no, this generator has seen its time. It's time to rest it. Then I thought, okay, I need to get another generator. But before I got that second generator, I had a friend of mine who said to me, I think you need to reduce what you're using your generator for. So don't run the whole house on that generator. So find an alternative for your lights, find an alternative for your water pump, and find an alternative for as many things as you can, so that that generator will maybe only run like your stove if you need to cook. So I went solar. And
Okay.
in my investment in solar, I realized that no, solar could run my water, solar could run my lights, and solar could run a lot of the things that I needed to run. So I only actually ran the generator when I needed. In fact, and gas came up for cooking. So the generator was backup for solar, and I haven't had the need to use it since then. So I bought a little generator, and it just sits there with petrol, and everybody's telling me it's very dangerous, you must drain it. But it's been
Okay.
sitting there for a long time. I've never had to use it. So the solar has worked for me in this. And we've almost forgotten that electricity is an issue.
So in other words, you have checked out of the national grid. Is that it?
Not completely, because I do use my solar. So I do use my electricity. I run an electricity stove.
Okay.
And because my solar can't handle the big elements.
Okay.
So yeah, when I cook either with gas or electricity.
Okay.
And but it's minimal, and it's by choice now. I'm not forced to say, oh, I need to use electricity. It's by choice. I save my gas and sometimes cook on electricity. And my water for tea is always on electricity. I like my kettle.
I realized that from watching
Mm.
the video with you. So how long have you been using solar now?
When did I get my solar panels in? Initially, I had a portable solar unit for lighting. And I think I got that 2019, early 2019. So the lighting in my house was solar, and it was a portable panel that I put out by the window during the day, and it
Okay.
charged the unit, and it could light the house. And it could also charge my cell phone. But in terms of the solar panels to run my house, I got those early this year, 2019, 2020. No,
Before
actually, no, I
lockdown.
got November. I got them November of last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I got those in
pre-COVID.
November of last. Yes, pre-COVID, I remember that.
So have you had any challenges with them?
No, not at all. I had one little glitch, which was lack of knowledge on my part.
Okay.
These solar panels get dirty with all the dust. And this
Okay.
was like in July. Also, our winter, the sun, sometimes we get like a lot of overcast. And then
Now
there
winter
was a
in
lot of dust.
Zimbabwe.
Sorry?
Now winter in Zimbabwe.
Yes, we do. Our June and Julys are cold. We don't have snow or any ice, but they're cold.
Oh wait, you have a summer, winter. The 4 weathers.
Autumn and spring.
You have autumn and spring also.
No, we pretty much have summer, winter. In between there is autumn. Like now we are in our autumn. We've just come out of winter, which is our June, July.
Oh
And
really?
then, yeah, and then August is like our autumn, our fall. All the trees dry up and there's a lot of wind and lots of dust flying around. And then the heat comes in October. Then our summer starts.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So our winters are short. It's actually May, June, July is our winter. But June and July are the coldest. And they
That's
do get very
interesting.
cold.
Compared to West Africa, we just have hot and cold, hot and rainy. That's all.
Hot and rain, yeah.
Yes, hot and rainy. Every day
No,
is
Southern
65.
Africa does get really cold. And I believe in South Africa, in parts of South Africa, like Cape Town, they get snow. And when
Yeah,
it's
I've
cold in
heard about
Cape
that.
Town, yeah, we feel it here. We get cold fronts coming in from South Africa.
Okay,
So yeah, we do
I'll
get
hold on to
cold.
coming to Zimbabwe.
Just time it, Fred. Don't come in June and July, but all the other months are beautiful weather.
Anyway, so you've not had any issues as a user of solar systems.
No, it was just that lack of knowledge that I didn't know you need to clean the panels.
Okay.
So they were dusty and mucky. We had like a few showers. And then the guy who installed said to me, no, you do need to go up there and clean them. So I had somebody go up and clean them. But other than that, they've been brilliant.
What about
Like
the
the
initial
best thing
investment? The initial investments.
in the solar panels.
Yes. How did you acquire them? Did you pay cash for all of it upfront, or there's some sort of payment plan?
Okay, no, the guys insisted that it all came up front. So he gave me a breakdown that I could purchase the panels first or the inverter first, and then he would install them, and the battery packs as well. So a lot of people here, the first choice that I went with, I bought the inverter, and then he fitted in the inverter, and then a month later I was able to pay for the batteries, and he put in the batteries, and then I found I actually had enough for the panels as well. So the batteries and the panels came in together, but the inverter was the biggest cost there for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and no, they didn't have a payment plan. I had to pay for the actual items in order for them to come to my house. And I think if I had a choice, it was the labor he would have waited for. But I just thought, okay, let me just invest in all of it at once.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a local a Zimbabwean solar operator that did the installation for you.
Yes, and he gave me quite a few options. He said we can start small and just do the lighting first, and then we can expand on it to include other things like my water pump. But I found, yeah, so when he initially came and he did the inverter for me, he did advise that best get a big inverter that will hold everything you need.
Yes.
And then go easy on the panels and go easy on the batteries. And then over time, you can add on to the batteries and add on to the panels.
Okay.
Yeah, so that initial cost of the inverter was quite pricey. Can't remember it offhand what it was on its own. Yeah, but it was a good investment.
Anyway, so let's talk about EVs now. What's your EV story? How did you first hear about electric vehicles?
They're amazing. Initially, it was who said to me, because I always complained about fuel. I think that for me was the biggest challenge I've had in this country, petrol. Because when you can't move around, then you're stuck, and literally stuck. Because I remember nights where I'd be going to bed thinking, I'm not sure how I'm going to get to work tomorrow. Or I'm not sure how I'm going to get children to school tomorrow because I have no fuel. Or I'd be on, we have these, what do they call them? These like WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups where you, like Zimvine, where people are telling each other where fuel is and where the shortest queue is and how many cars are in the. I'm telling you. So you
have that level of shortage in Zimbabwe currently.
Yes. Currently now, because it's all in US dollar price, I think your money is dictating the pace, and so the queues are less. But if you want to buy fuel in local currency, you got to make a plan because you're going to have to queue for like hours. So at the beginning, even last year, I was on, I think, 3 of these apps on my WhatsApp, and my sister was on a Facebook. And you put the loudest alert on those so that the sooner the message gets in, you're the first one in that queue. Otherwise, if you wait 30 minutes, by the time you get to the queue, you're like holding number 125 or something.
Okay.
So yeah, those were frustrating for me because you would get a call like, oh, the Zuva truck or the Puma truck is on its way to this Puma, and they open at 6. So queues start maybe like as early as 3 a.m.
Okay.
And I could never wake up early enough to join a queue, and half the time I'd get there and yes, 3 a.m. in the morning to join the queue. And then they start serving at 6, so you would have gotten a good spot. Like the first 20, 50 cars, they woke up early before the sunrise to catch that queue. So for me, I think that was the biggest challenge. I was like, no, maybe I should get a bicycle. And then and then I'd always heard about these electric cars, but I thought, no, there's no way these things will come to Africa. Because, a lot of us here have resorted to driving ex-Japs to make things work, because brand new car here is just crazy. It's not affordable.
Oh, you mean used
But
cars
then
are called what? S-jobs. Is that how do you spell that?
X-Japs, cars that are coming out of Japan.
Oh, okay.
Cars, yeah. Those, there's a lot of those here. X-Japs is the word.
Of course, you're
So,
closer to them.
Yes,
Sorry,
and the ports and everything bring them in quite readily available.
Okay.
So, so I was like having nightmares about petrol. And when these EVs came along and they were actually locally available, I'm the first one in line, people, because I do not want to stand in a petrol queue. I'll tell you my experiences in the petrol queue. I stayed in an apartment quite close to a petrol station.
Okay.
I made friends with one of the ladies at the petrol station, but I could only get my fuel when she was there. And I felt bad that I am jumping the queue or I'm getting privileged to get my fuel before everybody else. And you question the morale behind that. And so I decided, no, that's not the way to go. And then I would say, okay, I can queue and not worry about queuing. I would take my iPad, I would take a book, I would take a lunch bag.
That's a project.
Cool. Yes. Because you're spending the day in a queue. And I'll take
so productivity, all that is productive hours going.
0. Yes, 0.
I
used to see people in petrol queues with their laptops, but your battery will only run maybe 2 hours and then you're done and you're still in the queue for another 2 hours. So take a book and just sit and read in a big sun hat, and then just brace yourself. My whole Sunday, I'm in this petrol queue until I get my fuel. Then I decided, no.
This must end.
This needs to come to an end.
This nonsense must stop.
It needs to stop. And it's my time. I must take control of my time, and I must account for my time. And I can't say, oh, I spend my whole Sunday in a petrol queue. Or, oh, I spend my whole Monday in a petrol queue. I couldn't even go to work. No, this got to end. So, EV was my solution to that problem.
But you know, that's another interesting aspect where Africans, because of the failures of our governments and our systems, or lack thereof, then people have to find personal solutions to public problems. Anyway, now, when you made that decision, obviously, you have to make some inquiries. I mean, there are a number of objections that people have why they think and they feel EVs are not going to work in Africa. I mean, watching the other video, Joseph, between you and Joseph, they were saying that, you can have light-ups from 18 to 20 hours a day. Okay, that is approaching Nigeria levels.
Faster.
How did you overcome some of these valid and sometimes invalid barriers?
Okay, I know a lot of people say, if you're not careful, this is something I read a while ago, that as humans, we adapt our environment to suit us. Don't ever let the environment adapt you to such a point that you're crippling your life just so you can survive in the environment. And I think for lots of us here in Zim, it has brought us to that point where it's changing our lifestyle, it's changing our lives in ways that should not be. And so I think sometimes you then have to look back and just say, no, it stops here. I can't spend my days in petrol queues. I can't, even the stress of trying to figure out where I'm going to get the next 20-liter jerrycan of fuel. And and then you just go look for a solution and find a solution. I know a few people who've taken to riding their bicycles. The young guys in IT at the office, I know 3 of them have parked their cars and they ride to work. And that's working for them. But I couldn't see myself riding the 15 Ks to work. It wasn't going to work.
And then when you're going to pick your kids, you pick your kids in your bicycle.
Yes, you get a carrier and put them on your back and make it work. But a lot of us are having to find solutions like that. Yeah, so for me, where I found this electric car, it was really Remeradzai who said, no, they're
I
here in
knew he's a
Africa.
culprit. I know he's in the story there somewhere.
Yes, because I also had sort of looked around on the internet. I was seeing them in SA,
Okay.
and SA was talking about how they're going to put these charging stations. And I must confess, when I first heard of it, I thought, this is beyond Africa. It's not going to work. I just
This is
need
a
to
Toy
move closer to
Story.
my office.
Someone's having a
Yeah.
wet dream.
Yes, and to think it happened with all this COVID thing going on, I was able to actually secure one. Victory for me. And I'm really just thinking, um, God be praised that it happened. And with everything else going around, I was able to actually focus and say, you know what, I cannot cure COVID, but I can definitely reduce my fuel stresses. And I'm happy I have. So yeah, Remerazai is the one who really said no, they can be found locally. And he, being the physicist that he is,
Yes.
he
They come with data.
broke it down for me. Yes.
They come with data. The physicists, we are guilty of
Yes.
that.
Amazing.
Numbers.
He broke it down for me. And he made it real. Because sometimes, you're afraid, you think electricity? How? How is it going to work? But he did. And he said to me, you see the inverters that you have now, they can charge this thing. And he even did the maths for me, like in terms of what it'll take to charge this battery. And
Yes.
he said it's a 24 kilowatt hour battery.
Exactly.
And the units of the electricity here in Zimbabwe, it equates to $1.20 to fully charge the car. And I didn't believe it. I was like, no. Even to this day, I drive an electric car. I don't really understand what 24 kilowatt hour is all about. All I know that it can give me the 100 kilometers that I need, and I'm good to go.
so because if driving to work is 15 kilometers, then going to work and coming back is like 30 kilometers, right? Maybe you go and pick your case. I saw the last time Remedia was doing this up and down trip. I remember so let's say that's another 20 kilometers. You are good.
I'm good, yeah. The only challenge I sort of faced in terms of the kilometers were I want to be able to get to Mutare, to the Vumba. And that's like 300. That is in the Eastern Highlands, east of Harare.
Okay.
And it's about 300, maybe 340 Ks out.
Okay. You cannot go on a full charge.
Yeah.
Or on a single charge.
So, yes, so the one charge would not get me there. But he said, Tsitsi, you'll upgrade and get one that will give you that. Because now I understand they make them so that they can give me 500 Ks on the one battery.
But a temporary solution would be your previous car. You can use it for such one-off trips. So you have petrol. You can get the petrol at your convenience, keep it there. Then maybe once every 6 months or so. Oh, Olukokun, please come in.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tsitsi.
Hello, how are you?
My name is Olukokun. I'm a Nigerian.
Olulope.
See, Africans, we have special names.
Yeah, so I've been listening to you, and I know that anytime we talk about power failures and epileptic power supply, God will always speak on Nigeria.
But we are the kings.
Now relating your situation in Zimbabwe to Nigeria. So we have become the standard for power failure. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, my brother.
We are hot on
yes, my brother.
Power
No.
Okay, no problem. No issues. When you were relating your issues about fuel and all of that, I was amazed. I knew what you were passing through because we've had issues like that. I don't know if God remembers. It was because of that I moved towards the electric vehicle as well.
Yeah.
Because we had the protest, Occupy Nigeria then. I couldn't move. There was no fuel anywhere. and I got fed of that. How else can I move in this country? So I identified with you as we're explaining all those situations. I mean, it's always very awful. But when it has now become persistent and continuous for you, man, that's not at all. So I didn't know that. Let's go back to this thing. So you wanted to travel with your electric car for about 300 kilometers, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you have to go back and come back, I mean, go to and fro will be about 600 kilometers. Okay, so what you can. I'm listening.
I was going to say, I know Remeradzai had solutions for me. He says, stop over in Marondera at whose house and charge, and then do another 100 Ks, stop over in Rusape and charge, and then get
that is a whole project. That's a whole project. That's a whole project.
It's not about project or not, it's about the experience. Now, let me tell you something. You can have a small petrol generator on your car, you know, and you charge wherever you need to charge. So far, you can get that done. A small generator will do it. So if you love the experience of driving your electric vehicle and you want to travel with it, please do. Just pick up a small generator with you. I mean, you can just have your life the normal way it is. And that time you will need to wait for it to charge. It might be the time you want to go to eat to a restaurant or something. And the truth is that 300 kilometers at a stretch without waiting, I don't think it's possible. So anytime you need to have a stopover, you let your generator charge, or wherever you find electricity, you let your car charge, and do your stopover and all of that. So we cannot say that because electric vehicle, we must be restricted with the journeys we want to make and all of that. So if you really want to switch over to electric vehicle, this is the way to go.
I think Olukokun is giving truth to your earlier statement about making a plan and making it work.
Yes, and making it work. I agree completely.
But you see, my other concern when it comes to that is that, you see, as EV advocates and all that, we also tend to try to force people to, if as it were, sometimes rearrange their life for this technology. Okay, the ideal situation is that you don't have to do so many changes. Rather, you can even see improvement in your life as you are switching to this solution.
Yes, I'm quite happy, like you said earlier, that I can still switch to a fuel car if I needed to just sit and do a long trip. I have even my sister who said to me, so Tsitsi, I can run around in your car as well. And then when we need to do a long trip, all the money you've saved on your fuel, you can fuel my car and we can make the long trip together.
But when you say changing a lot of things in your way of life, all of us own mobile phones. And we use it on a basis. At a point in time, mobile phones were not part of our lives, right? So I think that whenever you run down, your battery runs down, when it gets depleted on your mobile phone, you find a way to charge it, either by generator, either by power, the national grid, whatever means. You want to charge your mobile phone and keep using it. So I don't see you finding a way to charge your car as much of a change in your lifestyle. Not that much.
Not at all.
You get it?
Not at all. Yeah,
anyway, but the jury out there, anybody, you can decide to go the way of maybe a supplementary IC vehicle if you have the resources, or you can go the way of Olukokun or the way of Remeradzai. There are three options.
I had a friend of mine, and I must put this across to Remeradzai and to you, Gad. Okay. She said, we have battery packs for our phones. I'm sure you can get a battery pack for your car. I was like, I'll ask that.
That was a solution that was, at the initial stages of this whole EV, the modern EV era, is one of the solutions that have been proposed. Some people still consider it. But charging is a function of range. In other words, if you say that a car can do 100 kilometers, all right. If the same car can do 200 kilometers, it means that it will have to travel twice the distance before you need to charge it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as we have entered the era of electric vehicles with longer and longer ranges, the need for frequent charging also decreases. You get what I'm saying? So in the days where you have cars that can go less than 100 kilometers, that is when doing a battery swap makes sense. All right, because of charging. But currently, with this higher range EVs, it doesn't make so much sense. I do remember me and Olukokun, we had a long discussion along this line for swapping batteries when it comes to affordability. Okay, because the most expensive part of the EV is the battery. So some people, instead of selling the battery to you, they will lease the battery to you and sell the car to you. You know, that's a different business model. But the battery swap, for example, the Nissan Leaf, really is not, because of charging, it's not really a viable. It's not a good idea currently.
Yeah, I've actually found now with all this COVID restriction, you know, we are restricted in terms of the radius that we can travel over the weekend, and we are still under some sort of lockdown as a country. Except I heard, I think earlier this week, that we were open for travel, international travel even. For me, this like 100 Ks has been more than I need. So I do about 25 Ks, 30 Ks on a daily basis, and it's been more than enough, and I'm very content.
Okay, so now the buying experience, you have made a decision.
I was actually still not 100% sure as to whether I was going to do this or not. Okay. But fuel went up. Fuel had been at $1.10 a liter. Okay. And then it went up to $1.28 a liter. And I thought, one has to make a decision. One has to do this. So yeah, Remeredzai had told me that these vehicles were here. And I went to have a look at it. And he had given me all the stats and the figures, and I was happy with those. I just needed to physically see it, that this is it. The size of this...
That means that somebody imported it? Is that it?
Yes, somebody had brought them into Zim. Yeah. I think they were actually...
As a business, or maybe his own that he decided to resell or something?
As a business, to resell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I had a look at it, and in terms of size, inside this car was just as big as what I was driving before.
Even though it's smaller.
There's more space.
It looks
smaller,
but it's bigger inside.
It looks smaller outside, yes. It looks small outside, but inside it's spacious. Lots of leg room, lots of boot space. And I went home, slept on it, and the next morning I decided, okay, let's do this.
Wait, so you never actually test drove it?
No, I didn't. I had a look at it. He did offer that I drive it, but I think Remeredzai had driven an electric vehicle before, and he had sold it to me. He had said it glides.
No issues
there.
Remeredzai overdid it. You see, you should have test driven the car yourself. You have bought it the same day. You have bought it the same day.
No, I went home when I saw it. I didn't test drive it. I should have, but I didn't. I think my concern was, is this real? Okay. That's where I need to touch this car. Is it real? And then when I saw that it was real, and I think in the back of my mind, I had made the decision that we need to remove fuel from the equation, because that component in the equation, the element of fuel, is not working.
Okay.
Yeah, so when this came along, it removed that element in the equation, and I was happy. So then I bought it and I drove it home, and that was the first time I drove it. It was wow. I must admit, I had a fear at first when I looked at the gauge where the battery pack is. And every time I accelerated, there's no rave counter. There's no raving noise. There's flashing lights. And I thought,
something must be wrong.
Is it going to drain? Like, you know, sometimes when you're watching your fuel gauge, you can see it going because you don't have a source of where you're going to get the next fuel. So I looked at it like that. But no, it didn't run down as fast as I thought it would. But my eyes sort of stayed on that battery gauge, and I could just see the blue light. And I was wondering, how fast are they going to go down? They didn't go down as fast as I thought they would. And when I got home, I was like, okay, maybe let's fully charge it and let's have a look-see. Okay. Then we did that whole route thing just to make sure that I'm comfortable with the range. And I understand that when I've done 30 Ks or when I've reached this sort of traffic light, this is where my battery percentage is. And when I get to the office, this is where my battery percentage is. And in fact, the battery percentage had hardly moved when I got to the office and back. But when we did that school run, then I noticed that it's moved significantly. Yeah, not way down, but that's when I actually noticed a change that, okay, we've moved from 100%, we are down to maybe 80%. But, and it also then gives you the comfort to know that it's done 20% to get me so many kilometers. I need Remeradzai's figures on this. And I'm still comfortable. I can still get home and still do another trip somewhere if I need to.
Okay.
I'm actually still gauging myself on that because I could tell in my previous car that I have a quarter tank, I can get to work, I can get to school, and I can come back home, and I can still go to the shops and still come back and then look for fuel quite comfortably. So with this, I know when it's fully charged, I can get to work, I can get to the shops, I could even get to school if I needed to. And all these trips coming and going back and still be comfortable to do them again without having to recharge. So I'm happy with that, yeah.
You are talking to us from your Nissan Leaf, right? So you can just show us your little baby.
All right. So this, I'm showing you the interior, but let me step outside.
Yes.
You've seen it on the videos with Remeradzai, right?
Yeah. You know, we had a test drove one here in that was last year. We couldn't stop flooring it. Anyway, we're three guys, so you know, guys, it's like we had a roller coaster. We kept smiling from ear to ear.
It. Okay. Oh no, my battery is complaining on my iPad.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't actually charge this thing. I should have. Let me see where I am. Yeah, it said I've got 15%. I hope it doesn't cut off. I'm not sure how much time it will give.
No problem.
Yeah. All right.
That a normal person, a normal everyday person has decided to purchase this vehicle in a country with irregular electricity, as well as irregular petrol issues. It is a significant testimony. So don't worry about the quality of your shots as you are showing us. That is not the main thing. Now, do you normally drive in eco mode or sport mode?
Sorry, do I normally drive?
In eco mode. You know, in eco mode, it reduces the performance.
Oh, yes.
So I want to know whether you're a speed demo.
I had a speed demo because I could not believe how fast it picks up speed.
Okay.
And this was very naughty, but I had this Mercedes in front of me, and
you want to show you that where power lies.
Yes, and I did, and I was.
It felt good.
They're going to turn around and think, what was that?
You know, and
I hope they can see the emblem.
I think that what is most enjoyable is the stupefying expression of people's faces. It's like, hey, that guy just passed by me?
Exactly. And another thing that I've really enjoyed is I get to the shops and I park and people actually notice.
Really?
This car is different. It's so quiet. And I'm surprised at the number of people who've actually stopped and said, oh, this is an electric car. Oh, wow. One guy even said, can I come and sit inside? But with all this COVID going around, I was a little like, well, no, I'm sorry, not today, maybe another day. But he did. He wanted to sit inside and just experience the car. It's a lot of people are actually aware that it's an electric car. And I even had somebody say to me, is this a hybrid? And I was like, what's a hybrid?
Wow.
I know. So
no. But is it those who drive the hybrid, they feel, of course, the hybrid, they feel that they can see that it's better than the petrol. But then when they try electric, they realize the hybrid is a deception.
It is. Yeah, I didn't know what a hybrid was. Remember that explained to me. I was like, oh, okay. Well, okay. But yeah, I've had a lot of people inquiring, and a lot of people, like when they notice how quiet it is, they like ask me, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's an electric car. And I even had one little kid who came up to me and he said, I know this is an electric car. And I said, how do you know? He said, well, you see this sign here. And I was like, okay. And then he said to me, he said to me, I also I can tell the sound of an engine when it's coming, but this one, total silence. It must be electric. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's electric.
Anyway, so, yeah. I hope the cops in Zimbabwe are not looking for you.
No. Well,
anyway.
They're just looking that you're wearing your mask and that you have a letter to be traveling past or outside your radius. And I'm cleared on that.
Okay. Anyway, so how has it changed? We have a few minutes left, but how has it changed your expectations of what a car ought to be? If I just come for
the couple of weeks I've driven it, it's met all my expectations and beyond, actually. Because I told you how I worried that I'd have to get home and charge it every night. Yeah. I haven't had to do that. And we have had moments where we've had power cuts. And I've had a bit of anxiety, like, oh my gosh, I must charge this thing. But I've calmed myself and realized that, no, I'm still on a good percentage with my battery. I do not need to charge it. And I'm happy to drive past the fuel service station and I see people excited to be getting fuel, and me, I'm like, I don't need these people right now. I'm good.
Checked out.
Yes, I've checked out of this system. I don't need this. Yeah, and I'm happy with that. Yeah, and it's been really, really good. I even had my sister say, well, you need to speak to the guys at the garage who are servicing your car and just tell them you've gone electric and see if they can help. And I was like, well, I have to find out whether
you don't need services. You don't need services.
Well, there's no oil change involved here.
I'm guessing she was shocked.
Yeah, she was like, I've had some weird questions. Yeah, they said, so will you be servicing it? Who will service it for you? I'm like, it doesn't need servicing as regularly as yours. He said, also, do you need an electrician now? And I must admit, the guy who put in my solar panels is the guy who put in the charging unit for me. Because the charging plug and socket were slightly different. But when I bought it, the guy had said, just change it into a 3-pin plug that goes into the usual sockets here. But the guy who did my solar panels for me said, well, no need to change the socket on your vehicle. They are actually locally available and we can put a unit in for you. So he did that for me.
Anyway, Sami, just join us. I mean, we are almost about closing.
Yeah.
Sami, do you have any questions?
Oh, no questions.
No questions.
He went for a standards body. Maybe he wants to ask you about standards. Anyway, I do know that Zimbabwe, we are a right-hand drive country. One of the few in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
I think that this conversation, we must have a part 2. Maybe in a month's time, because we want to give you time to settle. You know, it's like fine wine. Or if you become acclimatized, then we will have another session. And maybe this time we can make time and actually invite our people properly to also be on the call. Then we'll see how it
Great,
goes.
I'd love that.
Maybe 10 or 20 strange questions you have been asked since you got your EV.
Yes.
So the next thing we'll title it that. After that, then we'll let the rest of the people also ask their own questions.
Strange questions.
Yes, strange. I mean, strange. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Gad.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
The pleasure is mine.
Soon.
Bye.
Okay.